these 3X's doesn't fit. He was like, what do you mean they don't fit? And I was like, my hand don't go in them. So I went out there and practiced with those little gloves on. And the first ball I caught, my fingertips shot out the end of the gloves.
All right, listen up, everybody. I understand your obsession with takeout and fancy brunches and late night delivery. Luckily, so does today's sponsor. Food lovers meet the US Bank Altitude Go Visa Signature Card. Now, with this credit card, you get 4 times the points on restaurants, deliveries, takeout orders, and dine-in brunches, lunches, or dinners. Plus, Altitude Go gets you 2 times the points on groceries, yes, even delivery, streaming services, and gas or EV charging station pit stops. Visit usbank.com/altitudego to apply and learn how you can earn 20,000 bonus points. You deserve a credit card that gives you more and more and even more. You deserve Altitude Go, NerdWallet's 2022 Best of Awards winner for Best Credit Card for Dining Benefits. Apply to become an Altitude Go card holder at usbank.com/altitudego. The creditor and issuer of this card is US Bank National Association, pursuant to a license from Visa USA Incorporated. Some restrictions may apply. Hey everybody, what's up? Trey Wingo here. Welcome into another episode of Half Forgotten History, and we're getting close to that magical time in the NFL calendar, the NFL Draft. Look, it's always a crazed, unscripted show. You never know what's going to happen, and we're delighted to be joined by one of the top prospects in this draft. It's a very wide receiver, deep draft, and one of the best wideouts in the draft. Joins us this week, Arkansas wideout Treylon Burks. Now, he has massive potential, has big play written all over him, as well as massive hands to catch the football with. Yet some draft boards see him falling as we get closer and closer to the draft. Why is that? Well, we sat down to talk to Treylon about that and everything else that's going on as he prepares for the transition from college to the pros. So enjoy our conversation with Arkansas and soon-to-be NFL wideout Treylon Burks. You are a very interesting character. I think it's safe to say, Treylon, that you can take you out of Arkansas, but you'll never take the Arkansas out of you, right?
Yes, sir. I would say that 100%.
People have nicknamed you country. Like, how country are you?
I would say it's pretty bad. Everywhere I go, I wear my cowboy boots. Some people will say that I don't have an accent, but I just know it just because of what I do. I hog hunt, deer hunt, fish. I like my country roads. I like my horses and cows, and then also I just like being around my family. So that just makes it all even better.
Oh, we'll get into the hog hunting in a minute. Trust me. That will be a discussion we're going to have. But
Yes, sir.
you loved it. You loved it so much, Arkansas, that you really committed to Arkansas without taking any of your other visits, right? You had offers from big time schools.
Yes, sir. I would say, that was a decision off of my great grandmother that I had made to go to Arkansas, and then also, I just wanted to be a part of a program that was on the change, and we got that program changed around this past year.
What was it about wanting to be a part of the change that was important to you?
Just because Arkansas was a 2-10 team, they haven't been winning games. It was just like they were the downfall of the SEC. And, I wanted to be a part of something to bring Arkansas back to what it was before. And, we did that this past season.
And you were a big part of that, and we'll get into the numbers you put up in a minute. But growing up in Warren, Arkansas, you almost went to Ouachita Baptist instead of Arkansas, right?
I would say there was a chance that I was going to go there. That was just because, all my friends from high school, they had got offers from there. They were going there. And, OBU is not a bad school at all.
No.
They have a high standard. They win lots of championships. And, I just, it's a great environment to be in. All of my friends, they tell me that too. And it's just, I wouldn't mind being there. I would say that.
Do you know who the greatest football player to ever play at Ouachita Baptist is?
No, sir.
All right, it's Cliff Harris. He was a safety for the Dallas Cowboys who actually got into the Hall of Fame this past year. So had you gone to Ouachita Baptist, the standard would have been safety Cliff Harris, who was on the Cowboys in the 70s that won a couple of Super Bowls. So now
Yes,
you
sir.
have that as more information for you. But
Gotcha,
it's
gotcha.
interesting, Treylon, because so many people look at college as an opportunity to go somewhere different and see something new and sort of find something else. You seem so content with where you grew up. That was the most important thing.
Yes, sir. I would just say, just the way that I think, it was just because, it doesn't matter where you go, what college you go to. If you can play football, the scouts will find you. You know what I mean? They'll come out
Mhm.
there, they'll watch your practices, and your film will talk for itself. So I never underestimated anybody, going to a D2 or D3 school just because if they had the ability to play, they could make it in life.
As a wide receiver in the NFL, they're a very and in college as well. That's a very enigmatic sort of personality driven position. You see a
Right,
lot of emotions. You see a lot of they're not afraid to put it out there. Their swag is very high.
right.
It seems like you're a different kind of receiver. Like I used to have a nickname for wide receivers. We used to call them wide redivas.
Nah,
And
nah, nah, nah. I don't fit
it
in that
doesn't
category.
I was about to say you don't fit in that category at all, do you?
No, sir, not at all. I just treat it as it's a business job. I go out there, I take care of my business. I know there's no need to complain, just because everybody else is probably going through something even worse than I am. So, I just go out there and be thankful for the game that I'm blessed to play, and just play it to the best of my ability.
How much of that do you relate to your grandfather
All of it.
who served in Vietnam? Tell me a little bit about him.
I would say that it relates to all of it, just because that's the man who I mimic myself after of. Just watching him, how he got up and go to work every day, and always came home with a smile on his face and never complained about anything. That just laid the path for me, and I always wanted to. It would be times where he's getting off of his bus route, and I'm right there behind him, walking his same, marking his footsteps. I can look back and remember that. And so it's just things like that that can impact a kid and make a big impression on someone.
Well, he certainly had an impression on you.
Yes, sir.
When Warren High School, by the way, for a small high school in Arkansas, has put out some really good athletes. What is it about Warren High School? Because we've had some NFL players come out of Warren High School.
I would just say, it's different. Everybody down there is different. You never know who's gonna, show up. And I'll just say the one thing, everybody from one has talent,
Yeah.
and that's in any sport. It can be football, basketball, baseball, softball, track, soccer, literally anything. And it's just the way that our coaches that we have there, and then also the organization at Warren, the school district. They put you in a good position to showcase your skills and you know pursue your dreams, and just being a kid from Warren, it was a great opportunity for me to do that, and then I can't be more thankful for Warren.
Well, listen, you did a little bit of everything at Warren: baseball, basketball, and football. And you also played quarterback as well as receiver. You played edge rusher and safety, and you also punted.
Yes, sir.
If the motto is the more you can do, the longer they'll let you stay, you seem to check a lot of boxes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I would just say that comes from Coach Bo Hembry. He always told me to find a way on the field. And that was just my way of getting on the field, on the defense, offense, punt team, kickoff return, kickoff team. It was just a ways that I did not want to come off the field, and that's why I did those things. Because you never know when you have to play punter. What if the
Yeah.
punter gets hurt and you're the only one on the team that knows how to punt? So it was just always, I always kept that second thought in my head, and just went with it.
Well, we saw that actually play out in the NFL this past season. One game, the Texans had their kicker get hurt right before kickoff, and safety Justin Reed had to kick
Exactly.
in that game. We'll get into your wide receiver skills in a minute. Sell every NFL scout on your ability to be the emergency punter.
I would just say, I've had my fair share of 65 yards to 70-yard punts over my high school career. I say I actually, you know, punted a 70-yard punt at practice up there in Fayetteville, just to mess, just because I was messing around with the punters there. But hey, if whatever team I so happen to get drafted to, the punter or kicker gets hurt, knock on wood, I hope he doesn't. But I'm there. I can punt, I can kick, anything. I'm your guy.
You are the Swiss Army knife player in this draft. You got a little bit of everything coming out of there. And when you're serious though, when you said you would do anything to stay on the field, that includes the time you dressed in high school when you broke your arm, right?
Yes, sir.
Take me through that process. You're there with a broken arm, but you dressed just in case you needed to go in the game.
Yes, sir. 2 games before we were playing the Riceburgs, Stuttgart Riceburgs. Jumped up, tried to make a play, came down, broke my arm. Got back to Warren. They told me it was broke. They put a big orange cast on it that went all the way up my arm. Um, and I was just going out through practices the whole week, just making sure that I was, that I knew what the game plan was and everything, just in case if Coach Henry needed me. And then come Friday, I begged him to let me dress out, and he let me dress out. And then, we're out there during the game. One of our wide receivers goes down, and I look at Coach Henry, and I'm like, "Who's next?" I'm just like, "Who's next?" And he looked at me, and he just did like this, and he was like, "Go in." And I went in. I was blocking the first play. It was kind of weird, Then the second play, it was a pass play to me. I caught it, and then the next play, I caught another one and took it 60 yards. And then on defense, I caught an interception, took that to scored that pick six, and it just went on from there. That whole game, it was crazy. I'm not gonna lie. I still don't know how I did it, but I give it to God. That's what I'll do. I give it to God on that one.
So let's make sure everybody understands what we just said here. Not only are you a great punter, you played a game in high school with a broken arm, and you blocked, caught a touchdown pass, and also picked one off.
I think I had like 3 or 4 touchdowns and a pick
Oh
six.
man, did the scouts must have loved that story, right?
Yes, sir.
When did you know in high school? Obviously, you were a very big star at Warren High, and like we said, Jarius Wright and a few other people have gone on to the NFL from there. When did you know you had a real opportunity to be really good at football?
I would just say, really, when I was, coming from that game that I played with the cast, and then also when I had when I was talking to my teammates, we were down in one game, and just my leadership role that I had for the high school team, and how we rallied together and came back and won the game, and then just my mentality, how I carried myself on and off the field, just showed me, like, I can go do anything I want to in life, as long as I put my head to it. And it would be times where Jarius would come up to me and just tell me, keep doing what I'm doing. And also Coach Henry and all the other coaches would just keep telling me to do what I'm doing, just because, I had a chance to, play on the next level. And so, that's just what I did.
So obviously, when you're in high school, you want to get on to a scholarship and get into college. When you got to Arkansas, and like you said, it wasn't great when you got there. You wanted to be a part of the rebuilding process. Was there an
Right.
aha moment at Arkansas, whether it was practice, a drill, something a coach told you, or something in a game when you realized I may be able to do this beyond college?
I would just say when I had so my senior year of high school, I tore my ACL week 5. So I battled that, got back from that. And once I got there, I was still in a brace, and we were in fall camp, and I think it was KJ. We were doing one-on-ones, and I was going up against the DB. He threw me a fade ball, and I one-handed caught it in the end zone and scored. But actually, it was just like how I was able to move off the line with the brace on, how I was able to get separation and everything just from a veteran DB in college. And, it just showed me, like, shoot, these guys, I can, they're human just like I am. Don't overthink it and just go play ball. And that's what I did. And it just showed me, like, if you just keep that mentality, it'll take you a long ways.
Yeah, to say you just played ball is an understatement. A first team All SEC as a junior, 66 catches, over 1,100 yards, 11 touchdowns. You set a single season record, 6 100-yard receiving games. This is one of my favorite numbers about you. I know you're not a stats guy, but I like this one. In Power 5 play, you had 9 grabs of at least 48 yards, during your career. That's tied for the most, which is a nice way of saying nobody had more big play wide receiver gains than you. What does that mean to you, that stat alone?
It just shows that, I never, honestly, I didn't even know I had that, just because I don't even think about the stats or anything. But it just shows you how I took care of my business, just the way I carried myself, throughout film, throughout practices, just the mentality that I had to just go out there and dominate every Saturday, and put it all out there for my teammates.
Well, you've certainly done that, but with all those numbers, why aren't people talking about you as the number one wide receiver in the draft? Why do you think that is?
I would just say, I don't think they understand, and I don't put it against them, at all. But people like us, we see it every day. We know, what I mean. And I don't hold it against them. So, it'll just be, it'll be time for me to prove that on, on this coming up year, and then the next years that I have to go. That I was the number one receiver coming out of that draft, and that'll change all perspectives on up on me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, one of the big things about the pre-draft process, whether you agree with it or not, scouts are infatuated with one thing for a bunch of positions, and it's hand size. Like
Yeah.
quarterbacks that have tiny hands are a terrible thing. And we haven't had a quarterback with a hand size of under 9 inches drafted in the first round since 2003. You are the exact opposite. Throw those catcher's mitts up there for a second. Let me see them. Let me see these giant hands of yours. You had to have special gloves made, right? Because your hands are so big. They only made gloves in triple X, and you needed to get 4X gloves, right?
Yes, sir. At Arkansas, it was just like, I got there my freshman year. I went to the equipment manager, and I was like, these 3X's doesn't fit. He was like, "What do you mean they don't fit?" And I was like, "My hand don't go in them." And then he was like, "Let me see." And he tried to put them on. So I went out there and practiced with those little gloves on, and the first ball I caught, my fingertips shot out the end of the gloves. And he was like, "Okay, we've never had this. I've never seen this, and we're gonna have to get you some gloves." And so, that's what the head coach and him got together and did. They got me some 4X gloves, and just went with it from there.
For those that are really into this stuff, and there are some people that are, your hand sizes measured 9 7/8 at the combine. Now listen, scouts drool over certain things, right? When you shook their hands, were they like, "Oh my god, what is this?" Like, did they
Yeah,
were they like so excited?
yeah. It was just, it was like when I shook the guy's hand, he was like, "There's no way that your hands are, that big," and I was just like, "Well, I don't know what to tell you." They're that big, and then I just was like, it's just God gifted.
How much do you think having those big mitts helps you do what you do?
I say it plays a big role just because I'm able to, catch the balls that some guys aren't able to catch. If they're, I have that extra, I have that couple inches on my hands where I can reach up and get a fingertip on the ball and tip it back to myself. It just gives me advantages in ways like that.
So if everybody loved your hand size at the combine, one thing that people sort of weren't thrilled with was the 40 time. And look, I get
Right,
it. The
right,
40 to me, it's this sort of arbitrary thing because there's speed and then there's football speed. And some of the slowest wide receivers in the history of the game ended up being in the Hall of Fame, and Jerry Rice and Michael Irvin. None of these guys were jetsers. They
right,
they
right.
had their own issues. So what do you say when people say, yeah, but the 4.55?
I say, yeah, but my film. I say, just go watch my film.
Boom. By the way, that's the right answer. That is the right answer.
That's all I say, honestly. Just go watch my film. Never been
Yeah.
caught. I don't worry about the 40 at all. Because if I did, I would have ran it at my pro day. And I could have ran that 4.44 with the hand clocks. So it
Yeah.
doesn't bother me at all. I go about my day, I get my sleep, and I know what I can do on the field. So
Yeah, absolutely. And everyone that watches that film knows what you can do. All right. Why don't we take our
yes,
first
sir.
break here with Treylon Burks? And when we come back, we'll talk about the thing that has everybody interested in Treylon Burks,
Yes,
hog
sir.
hunting. Stay with
Yes,
us. We're
sir.
coming right back. Welcome to our newest weekly segment, Trey's Trends, presented for the people by Caesar Sportsbook. Look, Caesar Sportsbook is the greatest betting app of all time. Why? Because Caesars makes everyone feel like an emperor. When you place your bets, win or lose, you earn more with Caesar's rewards. Dining, getaways, stays, so many perks, people. You see, let me explain what that means. In our world, Caesar isn't the only emperor. You see, there's no apostrophe in that spelling. Why is that? Because everyone who downloads the app will be treated like an emperor. We are all Caesars. Caesar's Sportsbook is the only sportsbook app with Caesar's rewards, which means win or lose, you earn reward credits every time you wager. Redeem them for things like sports tickets, dining, getaways, and so much more. Presented for the people by Caesar Sportsbook. The NFL draft is almost here, and where the quarterbacks will land is always one of the more interesting topics when you're talking about building up your franchise. With the top pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars took a quarterback last year, and so with the top pick this year, they're not in the market for a quarterback, which means the QB class may be waiting a little bit longer than normal to hear their names called. At Caesar Sportsbook, the quarterback with the lowest over-under is Liberty's Malik Willis at 9.5, followed by Pittsburgh Kenny Pickett at 10.5. Now look, at least one quarterback is usually off the board by then. Since 2001, there's only been one draft where the quarterback wasn't taken in the top 3 picks. That was 2013 when E.J. Manuel went 16th overall to the Buffalo Bills. By the way, the over-under total for quarterbacks taken in the first round is 3, which makes perfect sense, since at least 3 quarterbacks have been taken in the round 1 in each of the last 6 drafts, and that is the longest such streak in NFL draft history. And 17 quarterbacks were taken in the first round of the past 4 drafts combined. That is the most over any 4-year stretch as well. Find more of this stuff at Trey's Trends at Caesar Sports on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and on YouTube. 21 or older, 18 or older in D.C. must be physically present in Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, Maryland, Michigan, Nevada, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, or Washington, D.C. Sports betting is void in Georgia, Hawaii, Ohio, and Utah, and other states where prohibited. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem in Illinois, Maryland, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, West Virginia. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER, that's 1-800-426-2537, or in West Virginia, visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net. Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Colorado, D.C., Nevada, call 1-800-522-4700. Indiana, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. Iowa, call 1-800-BETS-OFF. Louisiana, call 1-877-770-STOP. In Michigan, call 1-800-270-7117. Tennessee, call or text TN Redline at 1-800-889-9789. Virginia, call 1-888-532-3500. Copyright 2002, Caesars Entertainment. Gambling problem in New York? Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NEW YORK or text HOPE New York 467-369. All right, back on this episode of Half Forgotten History with Treylon Burks, Arkansas wide receiver. So you are a hog through and through, wanted to go to Arkansas, went to Arkansas. You also like to go through hogs, as in you like to go hog hunting, but just with your dogs and a knife.
Correct.
How did this become a hobby for you?
I would say around when I was like 7 or 8 years old. My uncle used to hog hunt all the time, so it was always like, I want to go. I deer hunted, I fished, and he came in the house. He was like, "You want to go hog hunting?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's go." So we went out back. He got some of his dogs, and I went with him, and we were out there. We were actually the dogs were like 0.78 miles away from us, and I was like, "So why are the dogs way out there?" Because usually I didn't know what I was doing,
Right.
And he was like, "They're out there hunting," and then all of a sudden I can hear them barking, and I'm like, I asked him like, "What are they barking at?" He was like, "They're barking at a hog." And so we drove all the way to the dogs, got 100 yards from them, walked out there, and it was just this massive, massive hog out there that they were just circling, barking at. And I was like, what is that? I was like, what is that? Or are we gonna, did you bring the gun? Are you gonna shoot it? Or he was like, no, we're gonna go in there and I'm gonna let you stab it. And then my eyes just got real big. And we went in there, he flipped it over, and I just stabbed it right behind the front shoulder. and killed it instant. And ever since then, it's just been it's been on go from there. It's just my way of going out there and just having fun.
Yeah, and people need to understand we're not talking about pigs. We're talking about hogs, as
Yeah,
in
wild,
they
wild, wild
wild
hogs.
boar, wild boars,
Yes.
wild dogs with tusks. I mean, these are not like these are dangerous creatures. Like
Yes, sir.
there's potential for real damage if that guy gets you with one of those tusks.
Yes, sir.
How do you protect yourself?
I would just say just being smart. I've been doing it since I was 8 years old. I know the ins and outs of it. I know not to just run up in there and just like jump on the hog. Always if he's facing away, then I know he's not worried about me. But if he's
Yeah.
facing at me, I'm not gonna walk up there just because, he can charge me. And so that's just, I just go off of instincts. And if I take somebody new, always tell them to just watch him, watch his reactions, watch what he does. Because if he's facing away, you can literally walk up right behind him and pet him on his back while the dogs are
Yeah.
sitting there barking at him in his face, because he's worried about the dogs, he's not worried about you.
What's the closest you've ever gotten to potentially getting nicked or gored here?
um I would say I've never been close, honestly, because
Yeah.
it's, I know it's a serious deal, but also, I have fun with it, and be very smart with it.
How much of a conversation have you had with a lot of people about that hobby when they're thinking about drafting you in the first round and investing a lot of money
I
in
would
you?
say all of them. They've Everybody's liked it. I would say that
Yeah.
everybody's liked it because it's different. It's something different. You don't see it every day, and also it just shows that I'm just being myself. I'm not trying to fit in with no group outside of me.
Yeah.
Like I said, I wear my cowboy boots every other day, and I go on about my business.
Now, I'm sure they love it for the reasons you said, but once you need to sign a piece of paper that says we agree to pay you X amount of money, are you afraid or concerned that there's going to be a little clause in that contract that says, yeah, but we don't want you doing this?
I would say, maybe that first couple of years, that
Yeah.
might be a concern, and I'm willing to,
Yeah.
stop doing it for that amount of time just to, pursue my dream, and make myself better. Yeah, I can stop that, for that reason, and but like once I retire, then I'm back up going.
I think a lot of potential coaches just went, phew, when they're thinking about drafting you here. Okay, won't be an issue.
Yes,
Won't be
sir.
an issue. So,
Yes,
what
sir.
has this draft process been like for you? Because I find it, the draft, lead up to the draft, I think is always so weird because you end the season and everybody is ranked a certain order, and then nobody plays any games.
Right.
And suddenly the order of all these people gets thrown up in the air. What
Right.
has been the draft process? What has been the draft process like for you?
I would say it's been a really great process for me. I've enjoyed everything that I've been able to do. I've been thankful for everything that I've been able to do, the people that I've met, and like even some of the players, the friendships that I've made with some of the players throughout the process. I'm thankful for that. But also, I'm just the type of person, I don't look at the mock drafts. I don't look at what people are saying. I just go about my everyday life and watch my film, work out, and fix things that I can get better at, and that will help me in my future.
One of the things that's always fun in the lead up to the draft is to look at comps, comparisons of other players to people in the draft. And your comps are kind of really fascinating. I've heard everything from Terrell Owens to Deebo Samuel to DK Metcalf and AJ Brown. Do those make sense to you?
Yes, sir. I tend like so like I'm the type of person, I learned it from my great grandfather. Really don't compare yourself to anyone. But at the same time, I would answer your question. Yes, sir. Those guys sound about right. But like, when somebody would like ask me straight up, I don't like to compare myself to nobody because I feel like that I'm different from those guys in different ways. So
Is there one player that not that I'm asking you to make a comparison, but is
right.
there a guy that you've said, yeah, I think I play more like him?
Yes, sir. I would say like a AJ Brown, Deebo Samuel.
Yeah. Well, Debo is interesting, right? Because he's found a way to be very useful not only as a wide receiver but also as a running back. And
Correct. Correct.
looking at what you did in high school, is that something you'd be comfortable with?
Oh yes, sir. I also played different positions in college too. I was
Yeah.
inside, outside receiver, and also in the backfield being a running back, and then also being a tight end on the offense. So I played different positions, just ways to get me the ball and just go make plays.
Yeah. But you're not going to do, you're not going to walk around with your shirt off like DK Metcalf did all the time, right? Is that,
Oh no, no, no. Ain't nah, I give all the glory to him for that because he worked his ass off to get his body like that.
yeah.
But no, that's not me.
Yeah.
Maybe the cowboy boots now.
Yeah, yeah, that will work. That absolutely will work. Now, there's no pro team in Arkansas. So, did you grow up a fan of a certain team?
No, sir. I would just say like I liked everyone. I played Madden all the time, so I would play with every team. I never had a favorite pro team. I would say my great grandmother, her favorite team was the Colts back when Peyton Manning played for them. And then when he went to the Broncos, she was a Broncos fan. So I think she was really all in all just a big Peyton Manning fan.
Okay, there's only been one Arkansas wide receiver in the common draft era that's come off the board in the first round, and that's Matt Jones. He went 21st overall, I think, to the Jaguars in 2005. Is that something that inspires you, like to get drafted higher than him or not?
I'm not gonna lie to you. It's just a thing with me. I just want to play ball. I never looked at getting drafted in the first round, second round, third round, because I'm not the type of person that worries about money like that.
Yeah.
But it'll be an honor to go high in the first round. I'll give it all to God and my family and the Arkansas organization for giving me the opportunity, to showcase my abilities there, and then for the people that has helped me along the way, and kept me out of trouble. But oh no, I would just say, it's never been a thought, that I could, possibly go super high in the first round. I just want to play ball.
Scouts love that answer. Why don't we take our second break? We'll come back and wrap things up with Arkansas Hog and Hog Hunter, wide receiver Treylon Burks. Welcome to our newest weekly segment, Trey's Trends, presented for the people by Caesars Sportsbook. Look, Caesars Sportsbook is the greatest betting app of all time. Why? Because Caesars makes everyone feel like an emperor. When you place your bets, win or lose, you earn more with Caesars rewards. Dining, getaways, stays, so many perks, people. You see, let me explain what that means. In our world, Caesar isn't the only emperor. You see, there's no apostrophe in that spelling. Why is that? Because everyone who downloads the app will be treated like an emperor. We are all Caesars. Caesars Sportsbook is the only sportsbook app with Caesars rewards, which means win or lose, you earn reward credits every time you wager. Redeem them for things like sports tickets, dining, getaways, and so much more. Presented for the people by Caesars Sportsbook. The NFL draft is almost here, and where the quarterbacks will land is always one of the more interesting topics when you're talking about building up your franchise. With the top pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars took a quarterback last year, and so with the top pick this year, they're not in the market for a quarterback, which means the QB class may be waiting a little bit longer than normal to hear their names called. At Caesars Sportsbook, the quarterback with the lowest over-under is Liberty's Malik Willis at 9.5, followed by Pittsburgh Kenny Pickett at 10.5. Now look, at least one quarterback is usually off the board by then. Since 2001, there's only been one draft where the quarterback wasn't taken in the top three picks. That was 2013 when E.J. Manuel went 16th overall to the Buffalo Bills. By the way, the over-under total for quarterbacks taken in the first round is 3, which makes perfect sense, since at least 3 quarterbacks have been taken in the round 1 in each of the last 6 drafts, and that is the longest such streak in NFL draft history. And 17 quarterbacks were taken in the first round of the past 4 drafts combined. That is the most over any 4-year stretch as well. Find more of this stuff at Trey's Trends at Caesar Sports on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and on YouTube. 21 or older, 18 or older in D.C. must be physically present in Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, Maryland, Michigan, Nevada, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, or Washington, D.C. Sports betting is void in Georgia, Hawaii, Ohio, and Utah, and other states where prohibited. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem in Illinois, Maryland, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, West Virginia. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER, that's 1-800-426-2537, or in West Virginia, visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net. Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Colorado, D.C., Nevada, call 1-800-522-4700. Indiana, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. Iowa, call 1-800-BETS-OFF. Louisiana, call 1-877-770-STOP. In Michigan, call 1-800-270-7117. Tennessee, call or text TN Redline at 1-800-889-9789. Virginia, call 1-888-532-3500. Copyright 2002, Caesars Entertainment. Gambling problem in New York? Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NEW YORK or text HOPE New York 467-369. All right, back with Treylon Burks here on this episode of Half Forgotten History. Going to be a very highly drafted wide receiver in this year's draft. You are not going to be in Vegas for the draft. I don't see you as a Vegas guy, right?
No, sir. Not at all. I will be in Arkansas with my family. So all my family can, make it and, just be there and have that moment with me, So that's where I'm going to be.
What does that mean to you? Because it sounds like exactly why you chose to go to Arkansas instead of somewhere else. Being around those people means more than anything else, right?
Exactly. I would just say my family is everything to me because I just go back to where, they were taking care of me when I was a baby, taking time out their day, sometimes missing school, sometimes, missing work or whatever, sacrificing things for me. And, my way of, giving back to them is pursuing my dream, getting my degree, never getting in trouble with the law and, just being a dog on the football field. It just gives back to them and makes them feel good that, they did a really good job on me when I was younger and while they were raising me. And, for me to come back and, give that draft day to them and also, everyone else, it would mean a lot more.
Well, we've certainly seen rookie wide receivers come in and do very well over the last couple of years because I think the college game and the pro game are more aligned now than they've ever been. Obviously, Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase the last 2 years out of LSU have blown up. But this is a really deep draft at wide receiver. We got Garrett Wilson, we got Jameson Williams, we got Chris Olave, we got Dotson out of Penn State, yourself, so many, Drake London, so many of these guys. I always like to give people this opportunity. Here's your chance to speak to every general manager, every coach, every player personnel guy, every talent evaluator. Why are you the best wide receiver in this draft?
I would just say I'm the best just because my work ethic, the way I go about my business, that's pushed me to learn the different, plays, learn the different positions, and that's also gave me the ability to go out and, play without thinking, and that being going up and making the one-on-one catches, outrunning that DB, outrunning that corner on that fade ball. Just I'm different in different ways because I can, do anything. I'm able to do anything that a coach tells me to do. And then also my confidence is out of the roof. I know what I can do. I'm the type of person I don't have to prove nothing to you. Like I'm not going to sit there and argue with you that I'm the best when I know that I am. I'll let you win that argument, but come that Saturday or that Sunday, once you see me play, you'll realize who the best is. So that's what I just say.
In other words, talk is cheap.
Yes, sir. 100%.
What happens on the field is what matters most. So years from now, when you're done playing and people talk about the exploits of Treylon Burks in the NFL, you probably won't think much about that, will you? Because if I'm reading this right, you're going to have a little house on a lake with every animal imaginable, right?
I'm going to have a ranch with everything on it. And then also I'm going to be a head football coach in Warren.
Oh, that's the next thing after the NFL. You want to go back to Warren and be a head football coach?
I want to be a head football coach, just to give back to the kids, and teach them things that I didn't learn in high school. And so once they get to college, it's not like a whirlwind to them, and like but like they'll realize, okay, coach taught me this, and then they'll attack it 100% and not have anything to worry about.
Well, this sounds like a perfect place to end it because we started with you never wanting to leave Warren, and it feels like when it's all said and done, you're going to go back to Warren, Arkansas when your NFL career is done. Treylon, we appreciate the time today, man. Thank you so much, and best of luck in the draft, and we'll see what happens, okay?
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all having me.
So once again, thanks to Treylon Burks for coming on the show. We'll see where he falls in round 1 of the NFL draft, but that's just part of our half-forgotten history draft coverage. We have got some very special episodes coming up for you the week of the draft with some big names. I don't know, maybe a GM of a Super Bowl champion. Yeah, we got one of those in Les Snead. And if you're talking draft history, there's only one person you need to talk to. Some spread. Circle the wagons. That's right. Boomer Chris Berman will join us talking about his incredible draft memories as well on a couple of very special episodes. You'll want to stay tuned for those. We'll see you then.